So I have to ask you, is it possible that psychiatry went so far south in this direction? I mean, to me, to begin with, we're talking about now over 100 years ago, but whether we're talking about Pavlov, talking about a salivating dog and a bell, and equating human beings to animals, or the fact that psychiatry, the original belief is that we do not have a soul, that we're not spiritual beings, we're like an animal. So you can treat us like an animal with medication and not get handled as a spiritual being. Is it possible that with everybody being drugged today, that the psychiatry is either the vehicle or the tool of big pharma to just get everybody stuck on these drugs that they also can't get off of because they will die? Not die because they would have died, die because they're on the drugs they can't get off of. And maybe you'll even go a little bit onto how people can die when they don't go to your clinic, which is one of your many clinics, which is a tapering clinic, and they just say, well, I'm going to get off cold turkey. Yeah. Not even possible.
The way I want to answer that is that for quite a long time in psychiatry, I feel like we've been struggling with a model of mental health that makes sense. And when you have the wrong model of why people are unhappy, you can be led astray. I mean, we had Freud, and he was talking about how everything is from libidinal urges or sexual urges, and they were really into talking about like sexual fantasies and things like that just really didn't fit. And then, as you mentioned with Pavlov, we have this whole idea that, we're just brains to be programmed by, repetition and all of that. And now in this new era that really emerged from the 50s, it's all about biological psychiatry. The way that we understand our moods now is these are just chemical aberrations from faulty genes or a broken brain. And anytime you get the model wrong, you're going to see a lot of very bad downstream effects. And obviously what's going on now is we completely neglect all of the other areas of our mental health, and we just tell everyone that it's a problem with your brain, take a pill, and that's why things are so bad now. I mean, the way I think about mental health and the model that makes the most sense to me, you can break it down into three things. I think it's like the body, there's the mind, and then there's the spirit. And to kind of touch on these three things, what I'll say is, the brain lives within your physical body. You have to have a healthy physical body to have a healthy mind. You need to eat the right food. You need to move your body. You need to stay clear from substances and things like that. You can't be pounding nicotine products and caffeine like all day. You can't be smoking weed.
That's controversial too, by the way.
Yeah, I get a lot of hate because I tell people, I'm just like, guys, if you're just drinking coffee all the time, you're wiring yourself into a state of chronic stress. It's going to mess with your sleep. And so you have to respect your body. You need to, stay trim. If you're carrying too much weight, that's extra inflammation. There's a whole bunch of things you want to do there to support the health of your brain. I mean, the next thing is all about mindset. I mean, there are so many things you can learn to train your mind. Like, it really is a skill, like to drop concerns about things that are out of your control, to look at, disconnect yourself from your thoughts and look at them in a rational way so you don't fuse with them and allow yourself to just get into this negative spiral. You need to learn that if you're in a hole and you need to get out of it, that you can't wait for motivation. You simply need to act, because motivation will follow action. So you can learn so many things to control your mind. And then finally, we have this more spiritual side. And by spiritual side, what I really mean is that there really are innate things that we need as humans to be happy. And the main ones, I think, are relationships. You need to have loving relationships with people. You need to have meaning and purpose in your life, and then you need to be safe. You need to be in a safe environment. These are just essentials for us. And so what I see now walking in my door is that people have problems in their body, with their mindset, in their spiritual life. And the doctor just says, oh no, you have a chemical imbalance. Take the medication, completely missing all of these things. And that is why the mental health in this country is going downhill. That is why the suicide rate is up 40% in the last 25 years. The mental health system is not effectively helping people, because if it was doing all of those things, if it was addressing these core needs that people had effectively, the rate would be going down, not up. So that is the clearest sign right now that we are failing with our current mental health system.
Yep, but they are helping the pharmaceutical industry.
Yes.
That's the only team right now that is winning from the amount of people being prescribed psych drugs, is not mankind, but the pharmaceutical industry. They're richer than ever.
And, people miss this as well. Yes, it's the pharmaceutical industry, but it's also an upper echelon of psychiatrists as well, academic psychiatrists.
But they work in cahoots.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
they do work in cahoots.
That's right. So we have like an unholy alliance right now in medicine between these upper echelon experts. And people, they'll say, who is this, online doctor in the white coat who's like got his tin hat on right now saying, these doctors are in bed with the pharmaceutical industry. And I have to remind them, guys, I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I've had academic appointments in medical schools. Like I know how this system works. And what has happened right now is that if you're an academic and you want to become the professor at Harvard or something like that, one of the things that you need is you need to have a really beefed up resume with a lot of publications, and you need to be traveling around the world giving talks. That's how you justify to the dean of your institution that I am an international expert, I deserve a promotion. And the last thing is you need to be bringing in research grants. That's essentially money into the hospital. Academics, very early on in their career, they learn, okay, I can get a grant from the NIMH, a government organization or a charity or something, or I can go and work with the pharmaceutical industry. And what they find is it is 1,000 times easier to work with the pharmaceutical industry. There's more research there. There's more research money there. They write their protocols. They provide administrative support staff, statisticians. They handle all of the publication processes. They fly them around the world to talk about the clinical research that they're running from them. And so early on in your career as an academic, you learn, if I play nice with these guys, I'm on the fast track to the top. My dean is going to be happy. I'm getting lots of publications. I'm bringing in money, all of that. And so what we see now is that at the top of psychiatry, we have all of these doctors who are in bed with the drug companies. Their careers have been anchored to the drug companies. And so they don't say anything about the fact that the system isn't working, because to do so would be to shoot themselves in the foot and then cut themselves off from all of this additional assistance that's really helping their career. And so that was a long explanation, but the term for this is essentially capture. We have capture of academic medicine by drug companies right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this. You said the system isn't working. Now, would it be acceptable to say that not only is it not working, but it's actually destroying mankind?
Yes. I mean, if you look at the suicide rate, it's quite literally, it's leading to more people dying each year from mental health problems because they're just focused on the drugs.
Yeah. So by design, it's destroying mankind. It has huge profits. And I guess we could say also handling the population of Earth.